Let me know when we go live. Is it live? Oh, we're
Yeah,
live.
live.
There you go, gosh. So, welcome to, the Three Amigos. It's been a while, hasn't it, really, gentlemen? It's been a while.
Been a long time.
So, I think we do our little round robin. Paul, how's your week been? How have you been since we last chatted?
Good, thank you. Very, very good. Enjoyed the boxing.
Brilliant. We'll get to that in a minute. Don't forget.
That was an uplifter, and it's been ultra busy. Been busy creating things. I've created a Facebook ads template for agents to download, so that's been keeping me out of trouble, and that's been very popular. So I'm glad that I've had some good feedback on that. But yeah, been really good. Thanks.
What about you, João Paulo?
Last week was horrendous from a personal point of view. Massive leak in my really old falling down house that had destroyed quite a few of the rooms. Because it's dead old fashioned, there's no guttering or downpipes, rainwater pipes at the front of the house. It's because it's listed. They have got like a lead U-shaped guttering, but it's hidden by a head of stone, so it looks nice. And there's a hole, about 5-inch hole in the bottom of the roof that takes the rainwater from the front of the house to the back of the house and into the hoppers and stuff. We've been getting a little bit of work done at the top of the house, and when one of the workmen's lifted, as you would do, so I'm not blaming the lads, you lifted the floorboard up, it's gone up, but that end's gone down, and it's squashed the lead pipe and it's cracked. So literally, whenever it rained, it was literally like it was raining through in the centre of our house, and it spread about 6 rooms. The only saving, breaking things already, the only saving grace is that we were refurbing most of those rooms, like wallpaper and plaster. But Gemma moved and the kids moved out for a couple of nights, so I was in just emptying buckets for about 6 hours Tuesday and Wednesday.
My God.
Other than that, it was great. Thank you very much for asking.
And on that note, let's stop the show.
I've got the Lost Adjuster coming out in a week's time. The lads are getting cracked on. The guy says that the Lost Adjuster went, or the company said, you might have to put work on hold. I went, do you realise how long I've waited to get these group of men together? Like, I could have formed the Marvel Avengers easier than I've got these bloody gas fitters and stuff. I went, you can off. I'm doing it. I've took loads of videos, loads of calls, loads of pictures. I've kept the lead pipe to see that it's clearly split. So I'll see you next Monday. So yeah, other than that, fine, not bad.
Right. So what about me? Yeah, all right. Bog standard. I can't think of anything bad, excessively bad or excessively good. Apart from the boxing on Sunday morning. Did you watch it live? Because I know that somebody couldn't get out of bed because they were too tired.
Who told you? It was difficult though, because we had to have a social media and daughter social media banned as well, because Mighty Mouth would have told us everything.
Yeah. So. Did you watch it live, JP?
No, not live. No, because I did a webinar on Monday, so that didn't finish so late. And you know yourself, when you get them, you don't get to sleep at like 11, 12 o'clock, which for me is late. The Tuesday, Wednesday thing was tough. Then I was down London because I got no sleep. I literally unfilling buckets. I'm not kidding you. I had my phone every 55 minutes from 8 o'clock till 4:30 in the morning. Do you know the big plasterers buckets, the 2 foot tall ones? I was emptying about 4 or 5 of them every 55 minutes, and they were like that much from the top. It was ridiculous. And so you're worrying. So anyway, for 2 nights I didn't get any sleep. I was down London with meeting, talking about finding country for Thursday, Friday. So I'll be completely honest, when I got to the weekend, I was just sparkled. I just totally chilled.
Yeah.
I watched it. I caught it the next day. I got it on YouTube. So it was brilliant.
It was amazing. It was an amazing fight. And I think it's given us the sort of core theme of today's little video webinar thing, where we're going to be talking about basics off the back of the architectural move of Fury for winning that fight. Apart from a couple of other things, was his jab was his most basic punch in boxing, but he does it brilliantly well. So
Mhm.
he jabbed his head off in parts and then obviously knocked him out. So
Mm.
what would you say then? Let's start with you, Paul. What would you say is like the core fundamental basics of agents doing good Facebook, good work on Facebook?
I think it just starts from putting out the right content and the right message. You know, even before even doing any ads, it's about understanding that the platform is totally different. You know, you've got to lead with value rather than going in there and trying to sell your services straight away. So, you know, just rewinding it even further back, I just think it's about putting the right content out there, understanding that it's about you know, teeing up relationships, building relationships, and leading with value. You know, that's number one social media rule, and then looking at all the ninja stuff and all the exciting stuff, or what I think is exciting, there onwards. So yeah, that's the biggest mistake I see, and the most basic mistake that I see.
Here's a question for you: do you ever refer to yourself as a ninja? Why would a grown man or woman refer to themselves as a bleeding ninja unless they were a ninja?
I was going to say, if you are a ninja, it's a good thing to
Oh
call
yeah,
yourself.
if you are a ninja, brilliant. You know what I mean? If you come in and throw a Death Star and it hits me behind here and you just, oh, do you know what I mean? Great, call yourself Ninja Steve all you like. But why did I say, oh, I'm this ninja? Oh, ninja content. I saw somebody say content ninja. What the hell does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
Please don't tell me that you two say ninja in your field. Do
No.
you, Paul? Oh,
I was just going to say I'm black belt in karate and taekwondo.
are you really?
Is he? Is he?
Right. Didn't know. That's unbelievable. Right, now that's good. Lead with value. I like that line. Actually, those three words. What about you, JP? What's the basics?
Basics of business is having the structure so everybody knows their particular role in it. But you look at absolutely everything. You look at the animal kingdom. You look at everything. When there's tribes, there's swallows. There's like the wolf pack, not the one man wolf pack off the Hangover. But you look at everything. Everyone has a particular role, and you just do it to your best of your ability. Agents try and be too complicated. You get people who are on about 1,000 and different courses, 1,500 different mastermind and coaching. They're trying to do 43,000 different prospecting things, including content and Google ads and TikTok and bloody whatever. And you've just got to do something very, very well. Do it well, do the basics, master it, and then move on. You know, unless you master something and you move on, it's, you chase two rabbits, you won't catch either. And that's what I say all the time to people. Just do it well. I was going to say people don't believe that I'm not actually that clever until Jerry says, no, I believe that. That is very true, John. You are not that clever. But people turn around and say, how come you've built the business you've built? And it's because I just do the basics. I don't overcomplicate things. I'm absolutely obsessed about time management, about my time and protecting it and not taking on too much. And when I do take on too much, it's like, right, well, how can I free up my time? And, if you're going to do things, just make sure you've got the time, the resources, and just get it done.
Yeah. It's very true. There's I was speaking to one of our clients, Stephen Hurd, runs a good agency in London, deals with some real like Plush, Pimlico, all the really the ultra posh areas. Do you know what I mean? And he said his team is like the core thing that they do is prospecting. Like they will, no matter what, they'll do an hour. I think he said an hour and a half each day prospecting.
Mm.
Everyone comes together, they prospect together. The whole he's got 4 offices, but they all do it across his offices. And a friend of mine runs a magazine company, and he's got this line. He's a great salesman. He says he's got it in his office. It's all fails without sales. So he has to sell advertising space, because otherwise the journalist is out of work, the distribution man is out of work, the designer is out of work, the printer's out of work. So, I mean, I think from a content point of view, if you're looking at the basics, I think this always starts with a sort of blog, a written piece of content. I just think that's just my opinion. And just be consistent, like Paul said, lead with value. But a blog is normally the starting point, because a blog can become a vlog, can become other bits and pieces of snackable content, and just be helpful, interesting, trustworthy. And Sam Hunter's got a line from somewhere. He says about being boringly consistent.
Mm.
And it's a bit like, when he said it to me, I thought of Roger Federer. Do you remember when Roger Federer dominated tennis and it was so boring? Or Lewis Hamilton's done it with, what's it called? What's that thing
Formula
called?
One.
Formula One. I was going to go-karting. That's been disrespectful. But yeah, boringly consistent.
You've got to, haven't you? You can't, whatever you're doing at is you just do the basics well. I mean, to get to a top level sports person and to get to a top level business person, and I'm talking probably not maybe the 1 or 2%, the top 2%, but certainly the maybe 3% down to 10% in the planet for sure. You just got to do the basics and do them absolutely fantastic well. To get the top 1 or 2%, you've got to have a God-given talent, and like a Federer or a Neymar or a Fury or something like that. I mean, he did the job very well, but when he gets clouted, he's got a chin made of granite. I mean, it's unreal. So there's that talent, but just to get to the top couple of percent or the top, say, 7 or 8%, just be fanatically boring. Don't do anything out of the ordinary. Just do the basics and do them better than anybody else, anyone else.
Yeah. No, I think that's very good advice. And what about, because you're both got feet in agency, what is there a stock problem still, or a bit of a stock issue? Stock not coming to the market? Still stock, but we're finding that we're very much getting out there and we're very much winning our fair share. Not as much as we'd like. We're getting invited out, which is good. But one thing is people aren't ready to move. So it is like we're getting out there, and whether they say it to us and the same to Paul if he's our competitor, oh yeah, we'd use you, but we just haven't found anywhere to move. So we're just trying to overcome things there to try and say, well, listen, the market's really, really hot. If you don't put your house, or it's not leased on the market, you're not in a good position. So if your forever home or your dream house does come up, most agents and most vendors aren't even considering you because you're not in a position. So why don't we softly market it? We'll get some offers. Don't worry, Jerry, we're not going to kick you out on the street. You don't have to move until that contract's signed. That house is still yours. Don't worry about it. But let's get people, and because people are in the same boat, people understand. And the chain might be longer. We might be a couple of months before the other person has a house. But at the end of the day, if you don't get on the market, you're not going to be in a position to move. So we're trying to come up with different things like that to try and get them. What about you, Paul? Same sort of situation where you are?
Yeah, it's the same. I think people are scared to commit to putting their property in the market because they're not visually seeing the properties on the portals. It's quite scary looking at how many properties are on the portals at the moment, compared to busy periods. Someone's just put 20% people registering saying more move in 6 months, 3 to 6 months, 60%. So it's just a bit of a stat there. But I think one thing I will say is that if agents are seeing a lot of valuations taking place and nothing happening for quite a while, I think this is the time where you can be using content and you can be providing value between that sort of decision-making phase. They're sitting there, they've had the valuation. There's that period of time where you can only phone them X number of times before you piss them off. But that's when you should lead with value, answering those questions that's going around in their head. Is now the right time? What happens if I get a buyer I haven't found? Any sort of content which might be relating to what's going around in their head is going to put you way ahead of everyone else. So I think this is a great time for content.
Fully enough, just to back that up, I've just had a meeting with our marketing manager, and that's the one thing she said is pumping out Jerry's content, because we did one sales and one lettings per week to very segmented databases. And now I've said I think we need to do very much a community-driven angle as well. So get Jerry's stuff out there, but do something around about like a Hartlepool or an Easington or a Horden or something that just shows that we are local, not just a corporate.
And you've got the perfect run-up as well, because you've got Christmas coming.
Yeah.
So support the buy local movement. We've got some articles coming out around buy local, sort of mid-November, December, because you want to encourage people to shop locally. So yeah, I'm not just saying it because I'm in content, but I think it's a good time for content to keep reminding people. And basically all content is a jab. Just keep jabbing. The hook is when you ask for the sell. That's something Gary Vaynerchuk spoke about years ago. He used that analogy as well.
Just to let you know, that was a right cross, not a hook.
Yeah, Well, you know what I mean. I go, I walk. Charlotte goes boxing. I sort of walk in like a geezer, like I know what I'm talking about. I go, well, let's what, yeah, like that, and they just go, yeah, like that. Get him.
Not the face.
Yeah, just like that. We said, not the hair. That's what I said. What's the hair? Come on, Jesus Christ. No, that's soft overhand. Who said soft overhand? I can't see what their names are. These people. Are we getting trolled? Or am I getting?
You're getting trolled. We're not. We're doing all right. It's
Yeah.
you, mate.
Yeah. So with this stock, why do you think people? And I know they're not, but there's something somewhere. There's something in the national psyche where people aren't putting properties on the market.
I put it back to the same issue as we had with petrol. It's just that everyone sees a shortage and panics, and I think we had that sort of flood of buyers, didn't we? Once the floodgates were opened after lockdown, everything was pretty much bought, and now people are just worried that it's never going to get back to normal and just sitting there. But I think it's quite a good market still for us, because if something comes on and you can get that property, it's going to sell, and that's been quite consistent in our business. But stock is an issue.
I'd like to see a bit of a halfway house between what it was and what it is, because at the minute, because stock's really, really hard, you've got to fight really hard for business, which is fine. I've got absolutely no problem with that. But you're going to get a large percentage of people who think the house sells themselves, like vendors. So they're going to think, well, listen, anyone can sell a house now. You can get a blooming blind man and a running horse could sell my house. So I'm going to go with the cheapest.
I know, with that leak.
Yeah. I couldn't give this bugger away. But so it's really, really tough. It's tough at the minute. But what I'd like to see is a bit more on the market, but slightly less demand. So that'll, again, when there's massive demand, anyone can sell a house. When there's less demand, it's all about your pricing and your presentation and promotion. Yeah. And good agents are about trying to get all angles of it. At the minute, anyone can sell, and you only know who's naked when the tide goes out. Yeah. So over the next 6-7 months, that's when the good agents will come to the front.
I think I've spoken about this before. I worked with one guy, 40 years experience, agency, 12 offices. He used to say that he loved quiet times because he knew his staff his team were really well trained. Recessions, he said, we always grew in a recession. And we're not going into a recession, but like the quiet times show who's good at agency and who's not.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I've noticed over the years I've been working in an agency, when there's a little dip, a lot of agents shit themselves, the bad ones. Go, I've got to cut back on this, I've got to cut back on that, I've got to cut back on this. Not thinking, hold on, it'll be all right in 4 months' time. It'll be all right in 6 months' time. Mm-hmm. So invest in your business and think a bit longer term, not even long term, mid-term rather than short term. But
I think this is a good time, though, to really sort of pre-frame people and influence them earlier on. So, there is that competition for property now, and like John said, in the eyes of the seller, everyone can sell a property. Why should I choose you over someone else? That's where you should have been doing the work a lot earlier. You should have been putting that content out, putting those videos out, nurturing your database so that they've seen you leading up to that valuation. So I think now is even more important to make sure that those things are being done.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you, Paul. Is that a Zoom background or are you in a hotel room?
I'm in a hotel.
Really?
It's a background.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What? You've got like a mad little arch, though. I don't understand what that is. Metal arch. Is it? Oh, you might be able to see it, will you? Because, right, okay. Somebody's asked a question. Paul, have you found more people using you now? It's harder.
I think that's a good point. It is harder. There's definitely more people wanting to learn or even get help doing it. But I think it's a benefit for agents overall, because there's going to be a lot more agents who are thinking, I can't be bothered with this, and they're the ones that really are going to lose out, because I think now social media is so important. So yeah, it has got harder, but you just need that little bit more guidance, and then you're in a very powerful position because not everyone is doing it.
Yeah, there's and I sort of echo that in what we've sort of find. When it goes quiet, we get more inquiries. When it's red hot, it's a bit of shit time. because everyone's so busy, they don't think about marketing. When it gets a bit quieter, then people come to us and will be asking questions. I'm sure, I know Chris Watkins on here, he gets the same. Me and him spoke about it in the past. When agents are really busy, they kind of just live in the busyness, which is understandable. Do you know what I mean? Which is understandable.
Got a question for you, Jerry. Something we've been doing, which has been working really well, is really personalising the content that we're putting through people's doors. And I just wondered how you look at that when you're creating content. How can you create articles which feel like you're talking to that person?
Yeah, there's simple technique, or there's one simple technique. You say the word "your" a lot and "you" rather than "we" and "us." So it's about your home and your tenants and your, and keep doing that. Another thing as well is to localize it. Sorry, to personalize it is to localize it. So a bit like what JP was saying, pump out content that could be, that is all localized. You know, do the things like the video interviews with local shopkeepers, or simple little things like, if it's a nice day and you've got somewhere nice around you, take a picture of the local park. For just snackable content. I'm not going to say it's going to win you any instructions, but it's going to just keep chipping away at people, keep putting you at front of their mind and that. And obviously you've got loads of community opportunities coming up. You've got Halloween. I know a few agents are running colouring competitions. You know, like people. It just gets people. It's better than nothing, because some people go, well, only 20 people entered. Well, it's 20 more people that you've had, 20 more families that you've got your brand name in their heads than it would have if you just sat on your fingers and looked up at the ceiling. Or sat on your hands, not sat on your fingers, sat on your hands. It's not you. You want to sit on your fingers, then knock yourself out. So yeah, I'd say that personalization is pretty simple with the your techniques, and just localize the shit out of everything.
Yeah, we've been writing to certain clients who are on the market, and we've done the normal general letters, but we have chosen certain clients and written to them and pointed out, you know, things that are going on with their property and why we think it should sell, and just being a bit more personalized to the client and property, and results have been amazing. So
when you say local to the property, what you've been saying, like if you know that they're a 3-bed semi-detached.
Well, just pointing out why we feel that it's a property that should sell quickly, and actually pointing out why we think it should sell quickly. You know, because it's situated next to a particular school, and it looks like you've got an extended bedroom there that's bigger than some of the other properties nearby. Just being a little bit more precise with what we're putting into the letter, and the results, as I say, have been amazing. Where people come back and said, yeah, pretty much what we've been thinking, and you know, starting a conversation. So that's been working really well.
Back that up a little bit. Fine, and couldn't we do something quite similar, or they suggest you do something similar? Personalize it, but also show how you can improve them. So, you know, listen, you've got a fantastic back garden. Why don't we put that as an opening image? Or your kitchen looks amazing, and sell the lifestyle. And the description's a little bit more like just samey. So why don't we put a bit more info? So it's personalizing the letter to try and improve it. It's giving with no expectation of receiving. Of course, we would love to get the business, but you're coming across as more helpful.
Yeah.
But I thought that print marketing was dead. This shows you, right? This shows you the mindset of a good agent. Paul, you are Mr. Digital, Mr. Social Media, but you still realise there has to be a mix. It's a marketing mix for a reason. Because if Facebook's not firing, you need something to fire. If direct marketing is not firing, you need your social media to fire.
Yeah, but I think all 2 or 3 have to be firing at the same time, because you know the touch points now for people to act is ridiculous. It's about 20, 30 touch points before someone actually acts now. So those people that we're sending letters to, we're actually also doing a Facebook campaign to that road at the same time, to that postcode. We're sending the letters, and we're sending the general leaflets as well to them. So there's pretty much touch points, but it's working. So they're probably seeing the advert and not really paying much attention of it, but it's a touch point. It's introduced the brand. Then they're probably getting a leaflet through the door, which is more of a general one, but then they're getting a letter, and the results have been brilliant. And it just shows, because we see so many adverts now, and there's nothing really in it for the vendor, that they're not going to really act on the first thing they see. So I think it's a mixture of it.
And I'd agree with that. And I think as well, we all get bombarded with so much information nowadays. We're consuming so much content that we don't remember where we saw stuff. I don't know about you. I get a lot of that feeling of maybe not deja vu, but I think, oh, where have I heard about them? I've heard about them, X, Y, Z business, but I don't know exactly where. But it's probably because I've been, this digital dementia. It's actually been given a bit of a, because people forget stuff so much now, because where we used to have to retain messaging and information by reading it and storing it in our heads or writing it down, now we just go, I can't say Alexa because she'll wake up. Look, she has.
Apparently, Jerry, it's 5,000 adverts we see online and offline every day, and we only recall loosely around about 4 or 5 of those. So we're talking everywhere. We're not talking just on digital, but everywhere. So you can see why now the touch points have gone up to sort of 20, 30 before someone will think, oh, yeah, actually, I should get in touch with them, or I should buy that or use that.
You know what? That's why Coke have got that, and obviously they've got a huge budget, but they've got. This is going back about 5 years. I watched a presentation by one of their marketing executives who said, "We look for omnipresence. We want you to go in a restaurant, and if you're stuck, you don't know what to do for a drink, you just go, I'll have a Coke." And he said that's why they keep at it. And all that. I mean, they've got a huge budget, but it's that omnipresence. And you imagine if agents have enough content at their disposal and are constantly at it, like we said about the basics, and keep just being consistent. You can get maybe not omnipresence in your local market, but you can get top of mind or front of mind, or whatever you want to say, just by being out there and keep putting yourself out there.
Do you know what the bad thing about that is, though? It's very hard to measure your marketing ROI.
Yeah,
we are going through this exact problem at the minute, whereas on the face of it, it's very difficult to measure print. I know print works, not just because of gut and intuition, but I know it works. But some of the managers are saying, and again, it's a bit of a bias. But like we use Spectre, right? We sent 14 letters out over an 18-month period to this particular property, and it came on board. And one of our managers who manages that will not accept that Spectre had anything to do with it. Thinks it was her sparkling personality and the keep in touch like once every 3 or 4 months. Fair enough, right? Fair enough. But we all know it was the letters, right? So, but again, when I'm going to my board and Adele and they're saying, what was the ROI? And I'm trying to explain to them that ROI isn't just on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's touch points.
It is. It's a touch point. In order to get you to it, how do you measure a touch point? Are you what they're trying to say is that it's the goals. I want to know who scored the goals to win the game. Great, but what about who saved the goals and who did the passes and who did the great tackles and who ran a lot? In rugby terms, it's the second row forward who does the hard yards. The engine room of the game doesn't get the glory.
Yeah,
that's what the market and the letters are.
How many times have you asked the question, "Oh, why did you come to us?" And they just say, "I just know of you," and that is because they've had multiple touch points. They're not going to say, "Oh, because I saw 3 Facebook adverts and I had 2 letters through the door last week," because it's not in there. They don't need to know that. So
it's an interesting one. I've got a client who's got a big, massive billboard in his town, and he said there's absolutely no way to track if it's working or not until people say to him, "Oh, I keep seeing your face in town. It's everywhere." It's not. He said it's only in one place. People just, like we said, they forget where they've seen that. Then, with the direct market, you'll know this. You know about tracking numbers, JP, yeah?
Yeah, like you can buy a quid a month numbers,
Yeah, because that is one way of saying, oh, the call came from X.
It's a better way. We've literally just had this conversation, so we're going ahead to do it. So we've Invoco. If anybody wants,
I use them. Do
you? Pete Butler, PB put me onto that. Peanut butter, and it's a quid. You can get local ones. It's about £1 a month, and we need 36 of them. So. Because we've got letters, we've got Spectre letters, we've got we advertise a couple in the local papers, just a couple, not the big ones. And it's good because you're going to, but it's a little bit like this. So I'll give you an example. And this is what I said to Deb, our marketing girl. I said, that's fine. I've got the local pizza shop in here, right? So when I say that letter, oh yeah, fancy a kebab, I'm going to phone it in here. I'm not going to go and pick that number.
Yeah.
So again, it's not foolproof, but it is better than not measuring it at all.
That's a really good point you said there. We've had that issue where people are just Googling us all the time, and everything looks like it comes from Google, but in fact, it's come from different directions.
So somebody said there as well, trackable QR codes.
Yeah,
I'm getting into
good idea.
QR codes more and more now, actually.
Yeah.
Using them myself, just on certain stuff. Go, all right, bang. The other day, watching a football QR code something. Yeah,
Just did you see the Paul Merson documentary yesterday?
Oh no, I saw it advertised.
No, it was it's really interesting. Obviously, it's about gambling, and they were talking about what the gambling companies are doing and how clever they are. And it was the feel good music and scenes and everything to make you feel good. And I just wondered if that's something that you see a lot, Jerry, in I suppose just in general advertising or content. Is that something which people use a lot now?
What do you mean in terms of trying to create?
Yeah,
just emotion.
Yeah, so emotion.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best bits of content we did was, and it was last Christmas, and it got a really good reaction. Nothing to do with selling houses. It was kind of like a poem that we wrote and put to music and gave to members, and the reaction was really good. But that was all about, we've had such a tough year. There's no place like home. That was the payoff line. So there's nothing to do with. There's nothing like us selling your home, and people liked it because I think it tapped into their emotions. And I think I tell you who are great at it. John Lewis with their Christmas advert.
They're brilliant. Yeah.
They're really good. Lloyd's Bank do a lot of stuff. And again, you look at Lloyd's Bank's adverts have nothing to do with banking. They're all to do with, like generations and stories and this sort of stuff. And that's something I think if you can tell a good story about what your agency does for people, then you're on a winner.
The best.
I was going to say.
You go ahead. Age before beauty.
I was just going to say, I think so many agents miss a trick with that though, because there's so many emotions in moving, isn't there? And property, right? Move have tapped into that recently, haven't they? With their ads.
Yeah. And the best advertising is always to do with emotion. You look at Nike, some of the sports, because they've got sport is an emotive thing. You look at some of the Nike adverts are just brilliant. Especially in the run up to like the Olympics or the Paralympics and that sort of stuff, because they make you feel something.
One of the best adverts I saw, and it was Troy Malcolm, who he told me about it, or told us about it when in a room, was the Google advert. And he said, have a look at how the big corporations are getting away from being corporate and they're talking about being personal. And if you Google Super Bowl advert, it was about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's the most watched Super Bowl advert, even though it's only 4-year-old, of all time, right? And it's about a guy, and you see the Google. I don't even think you see the word Google. You see the icon at the beginning, and then the word at the end.
Colors. They use Google colors.
Very good. But what they do is it's telling a story, and it's about this old guy who's talking about his wife, who's clearly passed away. Google, tell me when we went to Palmer. Google. What was that joke she liked? And Google's like coming back, and it's honestly, it's a heartbreaking thing because she's clearly passed on. And at the end, it was like Google, and you were like, you got me there. You had me at hello. It was just an amazing, and they never talked about Google. It was about how Google made you feel and what can Google do for you. Brilliant.
Did he go after it like towards the end of that? Google, download me the Tinder app. He's old. He's on his own.
80 to 90 within a 5-mile radius. Rich widows, please.
Did I never tell you the story of how I met Wendy like via online dating? Yeah, and people say like, "Oh, I travel to the ends of the earth for love." Nah, not me. My back in the day, 10 years ago, mine was 3-mile radius. I was that lazy. I would not go more than 3 miles for a date. But and the thing was, she got very, very lucky because she actually moved out of the 3-mile radius, but not updated her status.
Very good.
She was 10 miles away, and that's
did you know Wendy before, or had you seen her?
What? No. Just purely online dating. Yeah.
So even though you're 3 miles away, you'd never seen her got in 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, 3 miles in where we were in London. That's a lot of houses. That's a lot of places.
Right. Right. That's like 10 fields, 44 sheep and 3 dogs where I am. That's like,
That's like that'll be a good couple of postcodes, several roads where you could easily get mugged that you've avoided.
John goes 3 miles. John goes 3 miles to get his milk.
Yeah.
that's just at the other end of the house.
Who's put building a brand? Who in the comments has put building a brand story? Because I've heard about this book.
Yeah,
I should get it, really.
I wonder if it's Rob, because there's a lot of good things being put in there.
Yeah, it must be Rob.
It's Rob.
Rob Brady.
He's on Google.
He's on it, is our Rob.
Yeah.
Got last question for you, Jerry. I think this is a good time to mention the dreaded C word. What should agents be thinking about, perhaps preparing for Christmas with regards to content or ideas? What have you seen out there that's been quite impressive in the past?
The do not disturb campaigns. I remember Andy Overman doing, people might not want to move before Christmas because they're not going to move before Christmas. Let's face it, they're not going to sell before Christmas. So you do all your marketing before Christmas, like in mid-November. I think he says from mid-November to the start of December, and then you put it out the way and it's all ready to go on Boxing Day, when everybody jumps online. And he called it the Do Not Disturb campaign. I think that's good. That sort of content, getting it out there. That, you know what, if you are thinking of moving next year, let's get your marketing sorted now and ready in your photos before we put up the Christmas decorations and that sort of stuff. So that's good. There's so many community opportunities. Do you know what I mean? At Christmas, go and, I don't know, have some sort of collection. I mean, food bank collection. I'm a bit tired of the food bank thing. Not tired of it. It's been done to death. It's been done to death, and I don't know. I don't know whether it should be glorified. I don't know. It's political. But do something for the community. Do something for the community is always a winner. It's always a winner doing stuff for the community.
Yeah.
Toy appeal for the local hospital. Toy appeal is always a good one, and people say, yeah, they've been done. Okay, but what if you're the only agent in town doing it? Then that gives you a category of one straight away. And just do it because it's a good thing to do. So there's that. So there's a do not disturb. Getting messages out there for people thinking of moving in the new year. Yeah. If you want to be in your new house in the spring, really you need to be listed in January? Yeah. March, February, March, April, yeah. So those sort of messages, really. That's what we're going to build a lot of our content around, is geared towards putting ideas in people's head to move in the new year. Yeah, because you're going to end up with that point where obviously people are thinking then rather than the last part of the year. Reconnecting with clients, I suppose that's perfect time, isn't it? Leading up to Christmas, reconnecting with people that you've done business with and perhaps helped in the past. Can I say one thing as well about, companies that send out Christmas cards? Don't bloody bother if you can't be asked to write someone's name in it in a personalised message. Yeah. I hate the cards that I get from suppliers or people that I work with, and it'll be just the names of the staff. It's not to Jerry and family. It's just what's the point? That's not marketing. That's anti-marketing. Do you know what I mean? That's the carbon monoxide of marketing, because it's a silent killer, because it's so shit that it turns people off. Do you know what I mean? So if people are going to send out cards, take the time to write a personal message on your Christmas card. And that really does, I think that's great marketing. When somebody sends me a nice handwritten note, you take note. They get me moist. I know our demographic. I know they like that sort of stuff. No one's gonna complain. Anyway, who cares? Who cares? It's just words. People are so weak now. Oh, scared me. It's words, man. Right, on that note. On that note, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll all catch up with you very soon. Thanks, Ed.